Yes, hello, welcome along once again to the Left Wing Backs football and hurling shows live here on the Monday Night Football Show. We kick things off with in association with On Point Performance Analysis. We thank Ian Costigan for his support to the podcast this evening. If you want a match recorded, if you want a bit of video analysis done on your own team, maybe somebody else's team, hit up Ian there. On Point Performance Analysis. They're on Facebook and they're on Twitter and they're on Instagram. And guess what? So are we. We're live on Facebook at the moment. We're live on YouTube at the moment. We're live on Twitter at the Left Wing Back. And of course, after the show, as always, we do get the audio across to Spotify and Apple and all the audio-only podcast platforms. That will be tomorrow morning at this stage. So, yeah, we have a lot to get through. As I said, we start with football. We're moving on to the hurling show at about 9:40 or so. And the one and only Marty Kavanagh will join us for that one. We have a good bit to digest. Tonight coming up, we will be joined, of course, by our regular guests, Stephen Barmerick and Joe Nolan for both of our shows. We are going to hear from Mark Bean. He'll be coming on with us, the Carlow Under-20 football captain. They won the Andrew Corden Cup last week. We'll be talking to Damon McMahon as well. He is the Carlow minor football manager. They had a great win over Wexford at the weekend. So the first thing we do, though, is reflect on yesterday's game for the Carlow senior footballers, which was, of course, against Tipperary. It ended in an 11-point defeat. After the game, I was on commentary duty for KC Law, and I spoke to Niall Crew, the Carlow manager. Niall Crew, disappointing result. Your thoughts?
Yeah, very disappointing, Kev. Thought at half time we were well in the game. So only a couple of points in it, and I felt we were just, we were finding holes. But no, second half, I think when we made that mistake for the goal, our heads dropped, and you could see the energy drain from them, and from there on in, we were second best, which is disappointing for us as a group. But we addressed it inside there, and we're hoping that that won't happen again, I suppose, Kev. So disappointing second half overall. Just we have to be bigger than that, and I think we will be going forward. I think it's a learning curve for us.
Yeah, look, Niall, from your point of view and Willie's point of view, I do a bit of coaching, Willie does a bit of coaching. We saw what looked like a textbook tackle from Mikey Barmerick and ends up with a penalty.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get you dragged into giving over refs and stuff, but my God.
Yeah, I think the free count in the second half was unbelievable. Every time we touched it, we got a free. So it was very hard for others to be aggressive in the tackle then. But I suppose that's out of our control, Kev. That's frustrating now. We need everything to go our way, and it didn't. Disappointing.
Yeah, I think in fairness, like everything, even though it's an 11-point defeat and lads' heads are down or whatever, there was positives. We put together some good moves, we kicked some nice scores. I would like to compliment the resilience of Kuba in the goal, because he didn't drop the head after the kick out. His next kick out he pinged. His kick outs in general were very good, and he saved the penalty. So there is a bit of steel and a bit of resilience, and for chaps to have that sort of mentality, for me, can only be a positive going forward.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're all very disappointed now just with the second half performance. But look, Kuba's first game at 20 years of age, as you said, made a mistake for the goal, but an unbelievable save to make up for it. I know it is. It's like we know we're as good as Tipperary. We know that. But a few of our lads didn't play well today, to know that themselves. But I just think we have to be more resilient going forward. And it's been a great learning curve for us, the league. We've Wexford next week. Just try and galvanise the whole group together. And look, we're all deflated now, and that's important too, that we are. There's no point in me coming out here being all chirpy after being bet with 10 points. But I will say the first half was a very good performance, and I think we are building slowly. But look, hopefully, Josh Moore and Shane Clark were big losses today. Murta Ware was injured as well, so our panel was a little bit down. But look, lads, in the first half, we did exactly what we were supposed to do. In the second half, then when the goal went in, we just dropped it a small bit. And when you drop energy levels, inter-county level, you get punished.
Yeah,
that's what happened, and there's no doubt about it. Yeah, I agree in terms of the free count was ridiculous. Every time they got the ball, we couldn't put a tackle in. Ross Dunphy put in excellent tackles and he got blown as well. So Mikey was unbelievable, great tackles. So it was a bit frustrating. Then we were down to 14 men for the last 10 minutes as well, and I think they got 1-2. So that sums it up really.
I think from our point of view, and the thing that I spot anyway certainly was it took us a little bit of a while to adjust to, I'm sure you have it in the lads' heads about direct ball, right? But because they got back, we probably tried to force the direct ball a little bit from where I could see and give it away. But then when we tuned into actually going through the hands, we drew a lot of fouls, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're 100%, Kevin. I think we did force it, and that's what they wanted. We probably got conceded 1-2 in that by forcing it. But look, it's a learning curve. We'll have a look at the video and we'll cut out the mistakes and try and put them right for the next day. And look, it is deflated now, but hopefully we'll get it right now next week for the Wexford match.
Absolutely. Well, listen, the very best of luck. Thanks for having a chat with us, Niall. Alright.
Thanks, Kev.
Yes, thanks very much indeed to Niall Crew for having a chat with us there. Apologies for all the noise in the background. It was like a heavy metal version of the Angeles there, I think, with all that banging and bonging going on in the background. That's outside the dressing rooms in Semple Stadium, an iconic stadium. Unfortunately, not a great result. Steve Mamrick, you were there yesterday. Joe, I know you were not there, but maybe I'll chat to Stevie first on it. What did you think? Is it Liam banning the goal?
Ask the question again there, Kevin.
I was saying, So
America 6.
A minute of silence followed by the Angeles. What did you think of it in general? I suppose, like I pointed out my things to Niall, which he answered fairly honestly. Where do you see the whole thing?
Well, sure, we were 8 points to toe down, I think, after 17 or 20 minutes and looked like, we're in deep trouble. Got back to, started getting turnovers and made them overcarry the ball, I'd say 4 or 5 times in our half back line. That area, great to get turnovers. And then suddenly it was 9-6, was at a half time. And with 1 goal chance, Dara Foley's good block on the line, a very well-worked move. Could have been a foot block, don't think it was, no, in fairness. But, start second half, you're saying the breeze is in it. Colin Hulton get a few shots from long range. Dara as well. The goal was kind of a sucker punch then, just literally the first minute. Now they got free after they had no scoreable free in the first half. 40 seconds in, they had one, and then Sean O'Connor, I'd say, kicked the worst kick he's ever kicked in his life. It went, I'd say, 10 yards wide. And I don't know, it was straight from the kick out they got the goal, but just suddenly a 3-point game of 6. And as you said, the penalty then, I thought the same Mikey put a great tackle, just outside his momentum, carried him into your man, but what else could he do? But there was never a penalty, and Cuba made a great save from it. But it was Conor Crowley, I kicked a good point the first half, where Tipperary kicked all their scores from play, we were dependent on frees. But once we're going over, you don't mind. Like Mo scored 17 points yesterday, and I don't know how many he got from play or frees, but you have to be fouled, you have to be making the scores for someone.
Spoiler alert for the Hurling show.
Looking fortunate. Looking through the Tipperary team, they had the half back line, one of the midfielders. Conor Sweeney went off injured. These won Munster final 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. They're a bit further down the road than we are.
That's some delay.
They're a bit further down the road. Of the big Cavan game last week was the one they needed to turn over one of the teams that were vying for promotion. So it's in their own hands. So that's this crack of the weekend where they're playing London on Saturday. And the other 2 games are on Sunday, or 3 games are on Sunday. Whether that's going to stay the way it is, that's why is that happening in Division 4? It's not happening in Division 1, 2 or 3. Well, look, the positives. There's I think 11 lads after getting 11 or 12 lads after making their debut this season. They might have only got bits of 5-10 minutes of games, but they've made their debut. It was a tough finish in fairness. Looking on Rook got sent off, then they got 1-2, 1-3 without replying near the end of it, and they weren't 10 points a better team, I don't think. I know the scoreboard doesn't lie either, but take the positives out. Just it's a pity that if the goal hadn't been in after half time, would Tipperary have had a few doubts in their mind if we'd have got a couple of scores? Like I said, if the likes of Hulton and like Colin Hulton got no shot to goal until the last minute. That was the only shot he had to post. I think that was on 70 minutes. Like we only hit 3 wides. Conor Crowley got 2 from play. Probably the rest. Darrow Brinky to grab a point from, I said, nearly the 45 there in the second half of the breeze. But yeah, just take the positives out and get on with it. And like, I'd fancy him to have a good chance to get Wexford next Saturday or Sunday. Like, Kinsella dead rover. You want to finish the league campaign on a high, especially at home anyway.
Yeah, I think the game, Kev, I know I wasn't at the game on Sunday, but I was at the game the previous week, the Leitrim game. And I thought there was a lot of positives in that too. I know we leaked a lot of scores. We were kind of a little bit porous down the middle. But for anyone who wasn't at it, like we'd 5 good, apart from the penalty that Jamie Clark won and converted himself, I think we'd 5 other very clear-cut goal chances and just didn't convert. And, had we converted, especially one in the first half, I think it was Colm's chance as well. We might put a lot of doubts in Leitrim minds. So there was a lot of positives from that game as well to work on, So, you have to take the positives, you know what I mean? I think you have to work with that. And like what you said, I suppose the weekend's game now is just a kind of a championship builder, and you'd be hoping the lads maybe, get a win under their belts and bring that then into that little bit of form into the championship.
Yeah, I think so. I suppose, Joe, like to take all that on board, and while I do agree with you as well, right? I think if you're looking at it beforehand, we're hoping that Carlow are competitive in all the games and maybe get 2 or 3 wins, right? So we can still get a second win. That's fair enough. That's achievable, and we've been competitive in a good few of the games. It's just I still would think, and I would have hoped that maybe the progress was just that little bit quicker, even though we said we need patience, right? So I think it's not that can't be corrected, but we are still making the same mistakes in some aspects of our play, which we need to get right fairly quickly. And we have a lot of experienced players back. We still have a lot of young lads. But actually, the other things that we haven't really spoke about, and I did say it on commentary for KCLR yesterday, like Colin Walton played out around the middle. Darragh Foley times is out around there. Now, like from my point of view, if I'm Tipperary and I see Colin Hulton around the middle, I'm delighted. And Paddy Christie is actually a selector with Tipperary. He'd know Colin Hulton from his time with Ballymun Kickham's. They had a chat after the game. I mean, I'd say he couldn't believe his luck, right? And Colin made a good bit of play, in fairness. I just don't know would he been better close to goal. That's all.
Yeah, well, he's been very good. Like even in all the games so far that I've seen, he is a sharp, like he's a shooter, he's a scorer. Like that's a big part of it. That's his game. And I agree. I suppose the more than against Leitrim when we were chasing the game near the end, and Jamie Clark picks up the ball off our kick out, with whatever 3 or 4 minutes to go, and we're chasing the game. If you were a Leitrim player, like you're happy to see him there, sort of thing, But I think on the terms of the progress, like. I do think settling your team. I think the team has been settled for the last few games, maybe more so. And I think, I think they'll take that from the league and maybe hopefully go and bringing that forward. Like I think, we saw a good few changes. I know the O'Byrne Cup game was kind of, you couldn't really judge anything on it, but even from the first league game, there's been a good few personnel and positional changes. And I think they'll take that. I think that they'll kind of have to take the positive from that. But I think converting their chances, like you said, again in that Leitrim game, we were there looking at Stevie, and those goal chances, two of them or 3 of them, and they were relatively easy to convert chances. On another day, that could have gone in, could have been a different game.
Yeah, but it was.
I think, in fairness, right, I was really impressed with Cuba, and I mentioned it there briefly with Niall or whatever, just from the point of view of when you're a young lad like that, and it's a big day for you. You're playing in goal. You're 20 years of age, and one kick out goes astray. Like every kick out was flawless, and he got caught with one, balling up in the back of the net. Every kick out after that was still flawless, and the trajectory on those kick outs, as well as distance, like just lads catching them chest height on the far 65, they are incredible. And I know Chunny did say it to me when I met him a few months ago. I won't say where, the place has been mentioned a few times before. But like he said that. Basically, I don't think I'll be in goal for much longer for the town or for Carlow. This guy's kickouts are incredible. I think we saw a good glimpse of that yesterday, in fairness. So, well done to him and the younger lads as well in general, I thought, I felt a bit sorry for Dara Corrin, right? Because the ball was being peppered in and his man got 2 or 3 points or whatever. Like, as I've said several times, lads, if you're a very good back, which Dara is, and you're up against an average forward, and there's space in front of you, and a good supply, you're in trouble. And I felt very sorry for him when he came off. I think he's a great chap. I think he'll bounce back from that. You'd probably be nearly thinking, how about the supply? Quote the supply, and that's not as much of a problem as such, you know. So I think our younger lads are showing very well at the same time. You know, a lot of it's funny, right? I think they'll admit this themselves, anyway. More experienced lads are actually making as much mistakes, if not more, than the actual chaps. You know, for people that maybe think that it's the chaps getting used to it, it's the whole thing, it's the whole collective that is trying to gel, I think. So, you know, it's worth pointing out. But anyway, we're going to change tack and we're going to bring in the under-20 football captain, Mr. Mark Bean. How are you getting on, sir?
Well, lads, that's about now. That's about it.
Mark, how are you?
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on and congratulations. You won the Andrew Corden Cup. You're motoring fairly well.
Yeah, no, we're happy out now. We've been going now since January, and we said we really target the Andrew Corden Cup, you know, because it's a big Carrow tournament. You know, 20 years is anniversary this year, and we're delighted because, you know, like that final there, especially the final against Wexford, was a good hard game. It's probably worth, as my lads said, Morrison, we're saying it's worth a good month of training at least. Like, so it would really stand to us come championships. So hopefully now we can really drive it on. Like,
yeah, I went in to see his Mark against Tipperary. You mentioned it actually on the podcast previously. I think in our fine side, Joe would have saw you against Wexford. I think.
Yeah, the first night, yeah.
Yeah, you've got great options there. In fairness, great strength and depth. Like when you see the guys coming off the bench, they're every bit as good. Like.
Yeah, no, that's it. Like, you know, and the way the game's gone now, like you look at the likes of Dublin, that like the fellas they bring on, well, not now, but like over the last 10 years, the fellas they bring on are nearly as good as the starters. Like, and it's really about the panel, 30 lads. Like, it's fighting for the jersey because it's the competitiveness that drives on everyone. Like, you know, if that's not there, the starting 15 will kind of stagnate and won't improve at all. Like, so it's all about driving it on and the training and the intensity around the training. You know, that's what's about the strength and depth in the panel. And sure, it heads to all when you have two fellas starting on the hurling panel, and on the senior panel you have the footballers there as well, Pádraig, Buggy and Cuba and there as well. Like, you know, very strong panel altogether.
And I know, like, you know, Jack McCullough, obviously, and Fiacre Fitzpatrick are the two hurlers you're talking about. Like Fiacre Fitzpatrick's probably a senior county footballer as well. You know what I mean? And that's the nature of the county that we're in. But I suppose having them back there, and I suppose part of my ignorance, I have to admit, I don't know how much or how little they actually played, but I know they were back and listed and tagged and the whole lot. But they had to be a plus, obviously, coming back in.
Well, that's it. Like, you know, we brought them on all right there around the middle of the field, and they brought great size and physicality. We're probably lacking a small bit, you know, but that's what, like, we played with them the whole way up through minor and all, and they're great footballers as well, like, you know, and they brought great savage. It's a sheer size and their physicality, and they're both good footballers as well, like, to really add to it, and it probably gave us a good lift there going into the last 20 minutes of that, like, when they came on.
And Mark, it's refreshing to hear you actually speak like that too, right? Because you need to always see the bigger picture in the camp, I feel, right? And there would have been times previously when maybe lads would come back, even if it was from a senior panel, into an under-20 side with the opposite code, and there might be a little bit of niggle about, look at these boys waltzing back. The fact that you guys, and you yourself in particular, are seeing the bigger picture and how it benefits the side, I think that's something you got to be complimented on as well.
I don't know, absolutely. Look, as I said earlier, it's a squad game. You know, there's 30 fellas there, and everyone's fighting for the jersey, and it's that competitiveness that really drives us on. And if you look at the hurlers, whatever, like they're doing their own thing with the senior hurlers, and that's probably there's probably the player welfare issue there as well. Like, you can't really expect them to train and to be 100% committed to both. Like, there probably has to be a bit of leeway, right? Like, you know.
Mm-hmm. Joe, you obviously know a good few of these boys from the CVS.
I do, yeah. A lot of good men there. I was looking down, like I said, I only got to see them once now. Obviously, be talking to Morrison about them and knowing to be involved in that. And but we have a couple of lads in school who are still in school who are involved as well. But a lot of ex-students as well, which is great to see from our point of view. You know, the great pedigree there. I think they're just a broad point on the under-20. Like, isn't a great competition. I know we were going to speak about the Andrew Corden himself, you get me, in the import, you know, and what a player he was. But I think isn't it great that Leinster Council have and Carlow obviously going with it in terms of backing a competition like this, because I think at under 20 grade, you know, before and under 21, there was that big void where there was maybe only one match or one competition, and it was kind of, lads coming together very quickly, and there was no development, and some lads shot on to the senior. But now would you feel that, Mark, from a player's point of view, that there's real development there? There's a platform to give you as an inter-county player, a real foothold and a real development to go on to the next stage again.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a great structure there, all right, put in place. Like, you'd often look in kind of a club level as well, like particularly as when it was under 21s, it was kind of just a throwaway competition there at the start of the year. There might have been 4 teams, a semi-final played, and then onto the final. That was it, like, forgotten about. It's kind of just an afterthought really so it's great. So there was a meeting there over Christmas, whatever, and we kind of just out the plan for the year. We were back training then in January, so just because, like, we had the 20 championship as well, so a lot of us were playing that sort of training anyway, so there was no need to be training. And it's that structure really. Kind of there's definitely that player drop off between minor, particularly when it's under 17. Fellas are thrown into the senior level at such a young age. Like, you look at fellas there, they're being put into, probably, if you're born at the wrong side of whatever at the age gap or whatever, it could be 16 playing junior football. Like, it's fairly, you need that kind of bridge, all right, in the middle. And I suppose under 20s does provide that, particularly county level, though. It is a good kind of platform there then to hopefully drive on and play senior. And that's what it's all about really at the end of the day. Joy, you play a championship or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's about building that platform, keeping fellas involved, especially fellas who potentially go on and play senior football. Joy, you don't want them being pulled away to other sports or travelling or being distracted by college or anything. You want to keep them in the mold and ready to go then on senior when they're developed, like, and ready to go, like.
Yeah.
Steve, I know you wanted to kind of bring, cups and the names on them to the table while we are talking about Andrew Corden and how great a player he was. But, the Johnny Byrne Cup was played very recently from a neighbourly point of view. I played with Johnny, top guy, top hurler, top footballer, top soccer player. And the poor old chap, like, when Johnny passed away, he was leading scorer, I think, in the division for Vale Wanderers. And I think he finished top scorer that season, even though he passed away in February, which was remarkable. Like, but what we're trying to say is the prestige and the kind of profile and the legend that lives on from giving such names to such cups. I think it's very important, and it's carried, isn't it, in fairness? Yeah, just slight delay.
Yeah, I said to you last week, like, the Andrew Corden Cup, like, Andrew was a savage player, and, like, I know Mark is only 19 or 20 and didn't get to see him playing, unfortunately, and, like, he was a leader on the field. Like, he was one of the greatest players Carlow ever had, and he was only, I think, 23 when he died. And the fact, it means a lot to the likes of the Blues people, genuine GA people in Carlow, for the boys to win that tournament. It's a pre-season tournament. Like, the O'Byrne Cup gets a kind of a bad name for, it's a thrown in, like, the match are 3 games in 7 days or whatever, and player welfare, as Marcus said there earlier. But, like, this was well structured, good gaps between the games. Once the boys won the first 2 games, they were able to give lads run out in the last game against Wexford, because they were through to the final anyway. But, like, the Johnny Byrne Cup as well, played today, the dinner dance there 2 weeks ago, like, in monsoon conditions. But Pat Foley Cup, we won it last year in intermediate. Second time we won it in the last 4 or 5 years. Pat Foley, again, another legend, 23 years of age when he died as well. And any sport that remembers anyone like that, I know the saying had gone long before there should have been. It's just tragedies happen in all walks of life, and it's great that these people are remembered. And the memories I'd have of Pat Foley was only 8. I was only 8 when Pat died. He was a next door neighbour, and he played football and hurling for Carlow every grade. Won 4 minors. Had been nearly man the match for Carlow in '77 against the savage Dublin team. Andrew Corden on the O'Byrne Cup team that ever won it from Carlow. On the Blues team, on the Leinster club. Like, these, like, the memories these people left behind in the short space of time they're on this earth. Johnny Byrne as well, as you said, but brilliant at every sport. Was he 19 years of age? And it's great to see, there's a link there now. Mark and the lads have a link. They've won the Andrew Corden tournament. That has to send them out the next day in the first round of the championship. That bit more confidence in their everyone's got game time. Carlo, we've won a prestigious tournament for Carlo for an under 20 tournament and building that, and hopefully, if you get over the first round again, like the minors, we're talking Demi there in a few minutes, they've won consecutive years, they won their first round. I'd say it's the first time in a long time. And these are lads you need feeding into the senior squads, that you're not pulling 4 or 5 lads out of blue coming in, that they haven't had the background in development squads or under 17 minor, whatever you call it, or under 20s, that they're coming in with having structure and having played and having won then as well, hopefully as well along the way.
Mark, we actually are having a bit of difficulty in getting Damien McMahon on, but as Stephen had mentioned, and we mentioned at the top of the programme, the minors had a very good win over Wexford too. So it's like the saying goes, a rising tide lifts all boats. There's some good chaps on that minor team. I'm sure you're keeping a little eye on those as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was in that myself there. It was a great game. In fairness, it was tough in the wind as well. But there's 2 nice footballers there. Keelan Braid there, I thought was very good at centre forward captain. He was very good now, and I know there's Shane Duffy there going forward. I know his brother well, Connor. No, they're very promising. He's looking at them there, and it's great to see them win. I know last year as well, the Amos team last year they won the Bet Wicklow in the first round. So hopefully now they can really drive it on, and I think they're playing in Wicklow again next round, aren't they, in like a group stage? So no, it's looking very well now at the moment. So we'll take great inspiration from that as well going into our first round. Hopefully we can win our first game as well. Like Joe, we're really looking forward to now and drive it on now from then.
Yeah, just with the with the minor side there was a clip floating around on social media. The pass in for the goal was actually exceptional. Finish wasn't too shabby either.
Yeah, no, it was Matthew Farthing giving the ball there. He had the socks up. Yeah, it was a great ball in, and lovely finish, real soccer kind of finish low into the bottom corner. Yeah, it was brilliant goal in fairness, and it came at a great time. I think the game might be level. That was very important there. It was great timing the goal as well. Like,
yeah, it was indeed. So, just from your own point of view, then, Mark, just let us know what is the story when that fixture is, championship wise.
We're out the 14th of April anyway, and we're playing the winners of Offaly and Louth. They're playing the week before, so I suppose we'll hopefully not pay too much attention to that. We don't want to get caught up in all that, and we're just going to focus on ourselves. But obviously, Louth and Offaly, they're both very good. Like obviously, Offaly defending All Ireland champions, so like if we got them, it'd be a savage opportunity, really look forward to that. But no, we know. I suppose myself personally, I probably know them like just from playing against them up through the ranks with the codes and things like it tends to be more or less the same players, so you kind of have an idea of who'll be playing, and you kind of have an idea of what standard at. But then again, 20, it's another age again. More fellas come up, and look forward to them. We'll drive on now and train over the next few weeks, and I said we'll give it a right crack anyway. So look forward to it.
Yeah, listen, Mark, the very best luck. Thanks for jumping on with us. Enjoyed the chat.
No, cheers, lads. Thanks.
Keep an eye on your progress. All right, mind yourself.
Yeah, thanks, lads.
Mark. Take care, man.
Good chat, in fairness. Thanks to Mark for jumping on. We just are struggling to get David McMahon onto the link there. We've had several technical difficulties this evening. With different
There's another one.
Yeah, there's a slight delay there. +1. Is that an IPTV or you have or something? You're about 15 to 20 seconds behind everything.
He's on the fire stick up there.
You must be on a fire stick or something, I'd say. Yeah, I don't know what's going on at all in Banner Goal. And this was supposed to go on up there recently, I don't know. Must have been from dial-up to actual standard broadband, I'd say. It's not fibre. It's definitely not fibre. Fruit and fibre. Anyway.
We're getting fibre being in 2 weeks' time.
You're saying that for the last 2 years, you stop. Oh, Jenny Mac. I'll be there next week, Stu. I'll be there next week. I do hear that quite a lot as well. Anyway, look, bringing it back to base.
Wait for the race.
Yeah. Yeah, look, it's unfortunately we haven't been able to get. Oh, I think we might have him. Say nothing. He's in at the 11th hour, I think. Damien, do we have you?
You have, Kevin. How are you?
There we go. Literally in at the 11th hour. How's things, boss?
Good. You? Yeah. Internet's bad in Palatine.
Yeah, it's not It's not great in banning the goal either. We're on about Stevie's difficulties there, and it's more than just broadband. He's like myself and Joe. We've serious difficulties. We won't go into those now. But we have been talking about the great win for your lads on over the weekend. Well done on that. You must be delighted.
Yeah, look, anytime you win a championship match is great. I suppose we've had a lot of losses over the years, so we were very fortunate. The first two championship matches this year and last year were at home, and it's great. It's great to get off on a winning start. This year was a little bit more detailed. It was a shotgun championship last year, but we've had a little bit longer to work with the players this year. So yeah, it's great. It's great to get off to a start and 4-week break now before we play Wicklow and Ockram. So lots to work on.
Yeah, you'd be familiar enough with Ockram and Wicklow in general.
Yeah. The last time I was down there with the minors, I was involved with Willie Quinlan, and we got beaten. So it'd be nice to go back there. But we beat them last year in the first round, and I'm sure they didn't like leaving Carlow after a defeat. So they'll have all their preparation done to try and turn over that result and get one over us in 4 weeks' time. So yeah, looking forward to come back there. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been busy yourself over the last 12 months. You did great things with Shells, a Leinster semi-final. That probably, being honest about, from everyone outside of your own camp, I'd say it mightn't have been expected, especially from the point of view of what the Loud champions had done or whatever. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure you probably look back on it now and maybe you don't like talking about it, but a possible opportunity missed when it was all said and done.
Yeah, it's like everything else. It was a journey that started off really with nothing. The only thing I knew about Shelmers when I got the call last year was that they had a very athletic footballer playing wing back for them with a tan. I didn't really even know the colour of the jerseys or anything like that. So it was a journey into the unknown. And each game that we won, and all of a sudden we found ourselves in a Wexford final. And then the preparation, it was all alien to the lads to get to a Leinster club championship. And we went up and watched Rathvilly playing, and up in Louth, and I suppose it was very unfortunate on them that they were expected to play so soon after playing a county final. And I'm sure that they would have been a lot better if they had a little bit more time like we had. Like if we had played the same weekend as Rathvilly, we'd have been in the exact same situation. So after the county final, we sat the lads down and we decided that we wanted to give it a good crack, and the carrot there really was a chance to play in Croke Park, which a lot of players mightn't get the chance to do again. And luckily, it was a great win up in Louth. And look, I suppose it's a long season. It was a long season on the lads between hurling and football and the in-county stage as well, and it took its toll really on us in the end, and we just ran out of legs. But so close. I think we would have given Kilmacud a good crack if we had got there. But sure, look, it was a great journey, absolutely fantastic journey. Yeah.
Isn't it mad just the way that momentum can pick up like that when really it's not expected? Like, I mean, rank outsiders, complete rank outsiders, and you're a kick of a ball away when push comes to shove. Like, how do you go about building that resilience and that belief in such a short period of time?
Well, look, we were very, very lucky again. They're a fantastic bunch of players. I think John Hegarty is the main man down there, and when John asked me to go down and he just wanted a different voice involved, and there's a wealth of experience. Like Brian Malone, one of the longest serving Wexford footballers of all time, and you throw Conor Hearn, Simon Donoghue there is playing cornerback for the Wexford Hurlers at the minute. An absolutely fantastic footballer, and would definitely not be lost in any intercounty football team. Sean Kane in the middle of the field. There's a wealth of talent. Arnie playing wing forward there. So there was a lot of leaders on that field. Jimmy Cash there at full back. It was a master stroke. Our goalkeeper was corner forward in 2018 when they won the football. This year was only their second time ever to win a football title. They won the hurling the year before they won the football. So our goalkeeper, I think he only missed one kick out in the entire Wexford Championship and the Leinster campaign that we had. So we were very, very lucky, and in the mix then you have our own Anya Kinsella from Fenna that was involved with us. Very, very very detailed, an awful lot of analysis, video analysis. It was invaluable to us, especially as it was seen in the game up and Loud, like the amount of work that was done in that game. Like, you know, and see her, she's involved heavily. It's no surprise. Wexford hurlers are doing so well now as well, and she's involved with them as well. So, you know, hopefully sometime she'll be able to come back closer to home and get involved with Carlo in some shape or form.
Well, listen, Damien, I suppose for the next few weeks then, what's the plan? You know, you mentioned the fixture. The lads are on a high. You'd probably like to be playing next or the week after, by right? But there is that bit of a gap. So what do we do for those few weeks?
Well, look, obviously, things last Saturday was our first real competitive game in 6 weeks. So, you know, obviously we did make a lot of mistakes last week. Our first half wasn't really as good as it possibly should have. Second half was an awful lot better, but there was an awful lot of young fellas nervous, like going in there to Dr. Cullen Park on Championship Day, and the national anthem and the procedure protocol, and you know, everything down to timed. Really, you know, it was new to a lot of the young lads, and there was 9 of those starters that hadn't been involved with us last year at all. So, you know, it's really just about working on what we did wrong, trying and better what we did right, and you know, just, you know, we need to get lads game time as well. There was a good few lads that didn't see game time last week. So in between now and, you know, I think it's the 20th of April, we need to have a look at the rest of those lads and just really just tune them in. And that's really it. You know, training has been going very, very well. We brought in Richie Mann there from Aero this year, and you know, Rob Sampson wasn't able to give the commitment that, you know, he would have been able to give last year. So, you know, it's just really about just kind of tweaking things and making things better. And look, if everything had gone, I've said it to the lads, if everything went to plan last Saturday and it was fantastic, we scored 215 or 316, be no reason to go training tomorrow night. So, you know, that's what it's all about. Just keep them on the ground. There was nobody jumping around Dr. Cullen Park or Netwatch Cullen Park last Saturday celebrating the victory. It's the first win, and you know, we had a great win last year over Wicklow in the first round, and you know, we went up to Newbridge for the second round, and we were brought back there fairly suddenly. So we're under no illusions the task that we face going down to Auckland now in 4 weeks' time.
Yeah. Listen, Damien, the very best luck. Thanks for jumping on. I know we had difficulties, but you kept plucking away and we got you there eventually. So best luck to you and the lads. Well done again on the win over the weekend, and we look forward to chatting to you again soon. All right.
Kevin, just wish James Brady the very best luck. He's gone away for a romantic weekend down in Killarney with his good wife. So he was slagging me about this today now. So best luck to James. Make sure he comes home safe and sound.
Yeah, he was actually in touch there earlier as well. He said great win for the Miners or whatever. And I was like, don't worry, the gaffer's coming on. We're not forgetting the chaps.
Yeah.
So yeah. Enjoy, James. Enjoy. Hope it's a good one.
Yeah.
Damien, chat to you soon. All right.
Thanks, Kevin. Thank you.
See you, Damien.
There we go. So Stevie's there. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to finish up our football show, which of course was in association with On Point Performance Analysis. Again, thanks to Ian Coskin for that. If you want to get in touch with Ian, you can get him on Twitter, Facebook, and on Instagram. And of course, if you want video analysis, if you want a game recorded, the opposition broken down, your own team broken down, Ian's the man. So thanks again. We're just going to hit a bit of a break, back in about 15 to 20 seconds with the Hurling Show. Right, so welcome along to the Hurling Show. We are still live here on the same stream. We do chop the shows afterwards because some people just like listening to the hurling, some people just like listening to the football. The Hurling Show is in association this evening with Sports Equipment Ireland, and we thank them for coming on board. Sports Equipment Ireland, supplier of all team training equipment from cones, balls, bibs, balls, speed equipment, and more. And I do know there was a little promo code set up last year around Christmas time when Sports Equipment Ireland were sponsoring us. I think it was TLWB, and I think it was 10% off. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's still knocking around. If not, we'll get it sorted. Thanks again, Sports Equipment Ireland. Let's see, is Stevie knocking around? Stevie, you're back with us. Still a delay, I'd say. Still a delay. We'll bring in Mouse Cabinet. I think Mouse is knocking around somewhere.
Hope he's not in no lockdown.
Yeah, if he is, we're in big bother anyway. We'll try that again. Mouse, how are you doing? Are you hearing us, boss?
Well, how's things? Can you hear me?
Yeah, just about. Again, we've a slight delay, but we do have you. We can hear you and we can see you. How's life with you?
Yeah, all good. Yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, sure. Look, no problem. First time we've had you on live. We did have a chat there just nearly 2 years ago now. Actually, think of it. We brought the live aspect in since, but from your point of view. Let's chat about yesterday and chat about Carlow Hurling as a whole. So, like going into that one yesterday, something could have happened really. It wasn't completely in Carlow's hands as we knew. We could end up, in theory, could have ended up relegated. In theory, could have ended up in a promotion shake-up. We're not going anywhere. Try someone up for us there. What way are you feeling?
Yeah, look, I suppose it's kind of a weird enough league campaign. A small thing we could have been in a league final with 4 wins, or if you look back on it, we probably should have bet down, and I suppose we were poor enough against Kerry, and then probably should have bet Kildare then as well. So, small thing we'd be in league final, but I suppose yesterday, it was very nerve-wracking enough, because obviously the main thing for us was just get the win and get out of there and maintain our Division 2 status was the main thing really, and I suppose anything after that would be a bonus. But look, I thought we dealt with the whole thing well enough yesterday. Could have been could have made life a lot easier for ourselves up there, but look, we got there with the win anyway, so that was the main thing.
Yeah. From your own point of view, I think you hit 17 points. That was pretty good going. Maybe it was 18, but definitely at least 17. Stevie had a tweet up earlier. The team of the week was out, and it was like, you spelled Marty Kavanagh wrong. She was like, how much more do you have to do to get to a team of the week? Like,
Steve will always have me back anyway. That's for sure.
yeah. I'm sure you don't get to him up over them things. In fairness, I think you would rather know if Carlow were in the league semi-final. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Look, it was one of them days that I suppose they struck the ball well and it just went over the bar. Another day now, a lot of them would have went wide, but look, just happy they went over now and helped the team get the win, so.
Yeah. And most in fairness, you had your struggles with injury. What way are you now? Are you still kind of in around the 70 or 80 mark, or are we feeling a lot better than what we were?
No, I trained last 2 weeks well, and I saw the fitness isn't where I'd like it to be, but regards injuries and niggles and stuff, they seem to have cleared up for now anyway. So I went into the game yesterday feeling pretty good, so thankfully it was a frustrating few weeks for me personally between the college and the county, but after luckily they've cleared up now, and hopefully now we can get just a good training regime in for next month, coming into the first round of the Joe McDonagh, and hopefully take that up again up in Meath in a month's time. So hopefully go up there now with a good training done and looking forward to that now.
Yeah. Would it be fair to say, without trying to put unnecessary pressure, but at the same time being realistic, that we really need a good Joe McDonagh to maybe atone for where we're at? Because, like, if we're looking at it on the face of it, and you're doing everything in your power to change it, we're still not really where we are capable of being, I don't think.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's fair. Like, I suppose, look, under Colin Bonner and stuff. Look, we had a very successful time between the Christy Ring and the league and the Joe McDonagh, and playing Leinster Hurling up in the Leinster round robin. Like, that was an unbelievable time, I suppose, Carlow Hurling. But obviously, the new management team has come in now, and look, players have gone and new players have come in. So look, and I think we're kind of finding our feet again with this new team. Like that team. The team at the moment is fairly backbone by the under 20s. We've maybe 8 or 9 lads in the panel, and the likes of Niall and Jack McCullough in the back star yesterday, and Fever and Conor Keogh in the field, and Scott Tracy was injured. So them lads are really driving on in training with us and stuff so, and they're really fitting in really well so. They were very good yesterday. Niall got a great point there yesterday. It was his first game, and it was a big game. There was a lot of pressure on the likes of him. It was his first game starting, and he was brilliant, and he got a great score. And them boys are really making us up, So think that league, I think the league campaign for them will really stand to them now going forward in the Joe McDonagh, like, so you just have to take a lot of positives from that too.
Yeah, so like from the few games I've seen, and look, I wasn't there yesterday. I was actually in Semper Stadium covering the other one. But like in terms of the chaps, the duo of Fiacre and Connor in around the middle, they dovetail very well. I think the bit of cuteness with John Doyle. Like I mean, John Doyle was on and off the same Women's team last year. He wasn't a certain starter. I'd say most of the games he probably didn't start. Actually, now I think back on it, but the strength that he's bringing, the bit of awareness, he doesn't have the speed, but he has size, and he's great to bring a lad into the game. I think all these lads are actually offering something. Jack McCullough's bravery against Kildare, putting his body on the line. The unfortunate thing is when you come into a senior county setup, and you know this yourself, you're in there since you're 17, you just have to learn at sprint pace. There's no time to walk or crawl. It's sink or swim. But I think these boys are doing very well, in fairness.
Yeah, no, they definitely are. Yeah, look, I suppose, as I said, it is sink or swim. It's suppose it's cutthroat enough, like, There's always someone there in your position wanting to get in instead of you, like, so you kind of have to be at it, like, but like Connor and Fiacre in midfield, I suppose they're bringing so much energy and legs to the middle of the park for us this year. It's been unbelievable. It's just kind of just fresh bodies in there, and two of them run all day, like, you'd nearly be sick looking at them. To honest with you, it's about running they do. So, but no, look, it's all very good, and they're all enjoying it too. And as I said, I suppose there's a small enough panel. It's a tight enough panel, but it's a good panel. And I suppose the likes of John Nolan and a few lads have had a few injuries too, and getting back to fitness now as well is a big thing. So. This month now come up to the me game is huge for the panel, like, so if you train well now and I keep injury free everyone, I think we'll have a good say in the summer with the Joe McDonagh. So no, it's plenty to look forward to, like, plenty to look forward to.
Moses, is this your 11th season?
I think it is, Kevin, yeah.
And you're 28?
27.
That's mad shit, man. That's mad. It's mad, right? Because I remember actually we played you in minor club hurling. I was Banjack's the same day. I had to play in the goal. You were corner forward, only 14 or 15 at the time. And you scored 3 or 4 points or whatever. And like you blossomed from there on. I think you did 3 years county minor, and then it must have been on your first year minor. Then you were playing senior county, which I don't think you can even do now. It's mad, like you think back.
Yeah, it was my last year minor with John Evan was the manager at the time. I played my first year senior that year. That was in 2012, kind of Christmas 2012.
Would have been 12 actually, yeah.
Kevin Ryan's last year I came in,
Yeah, because we won a league down in Nolan Park, if I remember right. Yeah.
We did, yeah. Had a disaster over there, but we got win.
Yeah, it was really well scored. Yeah.
At that time, it was brilliant for likes of me that time with, obviously Shane Kavanagh and Eddie Cody and all them, like, they were brilliant for me when I started playing, like, so. I suppose I try kind of pass what I've learned off from them to the young boys coming in now, so that's all you can do, All you can do is try helpful and learn from your past experience and try guide the others on with you as well, like, so. I know it's my 11th season, but I'm enjoying it as much as I was, so.
Yeah, and how does your mindset change over those 11 years? Like, you go in probably a little bit naive as a chap with a good bit to learn, even though you were very mature as a hurler at that point. Are you going in thinking a little bit differently? Obviously, you're acting differently, and things have come along, I suppose, in terms of diet, nutrition, S&C. All this is changing. All this is, I suppose, evolving, as the fella said. But from your own psyche, like, the enjoyment levels you've touched on, you said you're still enjoying it. But is there any great differences in those 10 or 11 years and how you're looking at the whole thing? You have one eye, I suppose, on the fact that even though you've done 11 and you're probably doing another 5 or 6 now on you, but are you kind of thinking to yourself, I still need to make this count because I might only still have a couple of years left?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I suppose, look, you don't know where you're going to be this time next year or the year after. Like, you don't know when it'll be the last time you play for Carlos. So I suppose you have to look at it that way too. You kind of go into it thinking that it could be your last. So you want to give everything you can, like. But I suppose when you're 17 going to a county team, you kind of have no fear, like, you know, you kind of win and you kind of just go ahead and you don't really think about it as much. Whereas I suppose now you think about little things differently, like, you know, and I suppose that just the only kind of thing I'd say would have changed in my mind. I suppose going into things now, I suppose I look at it a bit more as in, like, you know, I mightn't get another shot at this, or this could be my last summer playing for Donagh. You just don't know what's around the corner or what life will throw at you. So
yeah,
in the moment, yeah. So, but look, as you said, hopefully I can have another few years in me now. It's all going well. So,
hey, come here. There's a few lads looking for yourself and Dial going to the county footballers.
oh Jesus, Junior C, yeah.
That was good crack at last year, in fairness, yeah.
That was great crack, yeah. Great. We had a right few weeks playing now, you know, training and driving footballs around the hurling pitch. But I know we got Clonmore were a good team. The Bears in the group stage up in Clonmore, and suppose we kind of got it together then for the final, and we played well and we played. I know it was very enjoyable now, and all guns blazing now for Junior B now this year now. So try to get Junior.
Yeah, but Pat Cody has a 5-year plan, sure. He's senior champions in 5 years, yeah. So yeah, it was a really good performance actually, and you know, on a serious note, like some of the scores you picked off were really good, and James on the frees, I believe James barely kicked a free before that, and he was slotting them at ease.
Unbelievable, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I was really good. Fairness.
Yeah, I suppose we would have played football, intermediate football. I think we were under 21 at the time. I think a few of us got injured in a football match before county semi-final hurling, and the club, that was it, pulled the football straight away. And footballs were burst, and that was that. And but even that time, James would have been. I just remember James taking frees that time too after round 2, and we're kind of before the first match then this year, like, oh, who's taking the frees? And everyone's like, sure, I'll take it. Like, them up and just he's sick. I suppose football at him and probably like he's sick and me now looking like him kicking the ball over the bar like that.
Should have paired the pair of legs on him. He'd want to be using them for something.
He's a serious one, sure. He wouldn't look out of a place when he playing senior football, I'd say.
No, I don't think so. No, honestly, I think he could play senior county football, and it sounds ridiculous to be saying that, having just seen him play junior C football. But he has the skill set, he has the athleticism, he has it. In fairness,
he has. He has it all, yeah. Hopefully, he come back to the hurlers before he was football.
Yeah. But you know what, right? The whole structure we mentioned a few times did sort out that thing for you, didn't it? Like that you could go play a bit of football. It was ideal.
Yeah, it did, yeah. And I suppose after disappointing and losing county final to Rangers in the hurling, I suppose it kept us together, and then we got and playing something in another sport, and I suppose one where we could have a bit of cracking, like, you know. So that was. It is enjoyable, I suppose, playing the two of them, and look, I suppose there's no harm in playing both of them either, like, you know. I think it's hard for the club too to keep that going, like, and even for football this year, there's a lot of lads playing football that wasn't even didn't play any hurling, like, so there's an interest there too, like, from other lads, so it's important for them to have that to look forward to as well, like.
Yeah. Can I just ask one quick thing? Has Darren Whelan forgiven us, right? Because I have to make a public apology to Darren Whelan. Myself and Joe were doing the commentary that day, and the way he was lining up to hit the line ball, I said to Joe, that's going straight. You could just tell straight away it was going to slice it. And we did get access to the clip, and we had to mix the commentary down to it. Lads, it was just one of those moments. I'm sure.
I can take heaven. It done the rounds and Blanche's pub there now for
Jeez.
That'll never leave him, because if someone else done it, he'd be on you, like, he'd be on it too. Yeah. So if he has to take it now as well. So
that's what it's all about. But you know what? Didn't it give you a couple of great days in Blanches, in fairness? Like that, unexpected days, I would say. If someone had told you 3 years ago you're going to be going on the piss for a couple of days after winning the county football championship, I'd say you would have said, "Hey, go back to bed, boss." Like, you know what I mean?
Sure, it was right, Gallery, and we Paddy Close stag there, and I think it was the start of December and November, like, and we were drinking in Blanches there one of the days, and sure, there was one football there again for the guy. So we threw it on, and sure, got a right laugh out for an hour, like, so it's great out. That's great out crack. I have to look back on it just for a bit of a laugh, like, oh, it's funny. Yeah. Listen, Joe, any questions for Mouse? You would have known him fairly well with various underage county sides, and of course with the
the senior side last year. Can't throw in there.
No, I think he had a lot of great points there. Like, I mean, we talk about the county footballers kind of going transition, and I think the hurlers are too, and you have to give them credit for for keeping their standards high. Always have kept their standards high. I'd say in the last 2 years, there's probably 16 or 17 lads who've come in onto the panel, or changed in the panel, and I suppose some of the old guard have moved on. Like like said this year, we've Feathers and David English have kind of stepped back, and lads are kind of moving, but there's other lads coming through, and I think that's a really encouraging sign for the county. You know what I mean? I think that's a really encouraging sign. I think you hit a great point as well, Marty. Like, I might thinking back there, and you're on about kind of lads enjoying football and living in the or enjoying sport and living in the moment. And like, I remember last year, and I don't like to bring it up, but I remember bringing you off a pitch in Abbottstown, and I'd say I don't know what your mindset was like after that, but I think what way did you approach I know, like, we were talking and whatever else, but what way did you approach your recovery, or what way was your mind? Because a lot of athletes, like at a high level like that, and a lot of younger lads as well, have injuries, or come across injuries like that, and sometimes it's not only the physical recovery, but it's how you get your mind engaged in your recovery. Like, how did you find that? Because there was a lot of weeks there where you were kind of unsure of where your year was going to be, or even where your next 2 years were going to be. So what was your approach to that whole aspect? And I know you're recovering from an injury now, but like at that time, that injury might have been more serious, if you get me. Like,
oh yeah, no, like, obviously, look, I'd be lucky enough. I suppose I'm playing a long time now, and that was kind of my first serious injury. Like, so I ruptured my MCL, like, which was the media, which wasn't the worst thing in the world either, because I suppose at the time and a few days after before I got the scan, I suppose the ACL was the main thing that was talked about. Like, I talking to people about it. I was fairly sure it was the ACL. Like, so I suppose I went from thinking, probably talking 2 months here, or 9 to 10 months, to getting the news that I'll be back in 3 months. Like, so I kind of suppose I went from doom and gloom to, look, it's not the end of the world here. Like, there's a lot worse positions I am here. Like, just so obviously I had to wear a knee brace then for 6 weeks and stuff. But once I got that off, I got to get my tip away. I went back into it, and I'm sure I'd be a terrible person to be saying I'm okay when I'm not, like, too, like, and I suppose physio time brilliant, and she was on my case big time, like, she belongs to me more so than not, because I was kind of rushing her to come on, like, I'm all right here, like, let me in, or. But in fairness, she took her time with me and eased my way back in, because I suppose there was really no rush in you have the fear of doing more damage or what have you. But no,
and was that
for the Michael game and the last group game? So.
And was there any, like, when you come onto the pitch for that game, like, was there? Sorry, Marty, I said, what was there any when you did make your comeback like that day? Like, was there any doubt in your mind, or were you able to banish that kind of thought from your mind about, am I right or am I not right? Or, like, I know you're a very positive thinker, and you're very determined. Like, but was there any doubt at all in your mind, or are you that type of person that that you can just banish that, like?
I know you'd have that fear. You'd be a bit fearful a little bit at the start, but I suppose once you got going, you were fine. Like, I think in the first 5 or 10 minutes, I think I could have caught a ball and landed down on my knee, and it was grand, like, and I suppose that put any doubt out of my head then that I'm good to go here, like, and so after that, then it was grand. Look, it's still kind of, you still feel it a little bit, like, it's not affecting me anyway, but but if something happened to. You have to cover the self once. You just know there's something still there. But I'd say, look, I'm playing a long time now, and I've got no serious injuries. Like, you think the likes of, I suppose, up to Dennis Murphy, for example, having to do 3 cruciates, and like, he's out for 3 months, like, so it's not really compared to some lads, like, so. But look, if that's all I finish my career with that kind of injury, I've obviously I've probably tore all I could have torn now, but regards broken bones or ruptured MCLs or ACLs, like I've been lucky enough that way, like, so hopefully that can hopefully stays like that, oh, please God, because as you said, so it's come to here now when it happened, Joe, and sure that was sure it was like my whole life fell apart that day, like a week before the first round of Kildare, and we were going really well that thing, Joe, as well, like, and a small thing, even a small thing we could have been with me that day too, and won the Joe Mac, like, you know, and it was tough. It was very tough that time because we were so close to it, like, and we were, and that was hard to take, alright, but I suppose I've really good people around me too, which always helps, like, so, and the phone, the people ringing me, the talking, and so on, plenty of people give me advice and whatnot, so that's the other side of it too. I'm very lucky to whoever. Like, so.
Yeah, I'd say Jack wouldn't take any nonsense off you anyway, for one.
No, he took plenty for me, on fairness to him, so.
Yeah.
Hey, Mouse, come here. I have one for you here now, right? When Pat Cody says that he thinks Dennis Murphy is the best free taker he ever seen, how do you feel?
No, I'd agree. Like, I wouldn't class myself as a free taker now or anything. As accuracy comes and I suppose as consistency comes, like, Dennis, he would be like, no, he very, very rarely had a bad day. Like, I could go out tomorrow night and I could miss 10 threes in a row. You know, to be honest with you.
It's mad because I don't recall too many days where Marty Kavanagh has had those type of afternoons or evenings or nights, in fairness. But, you know, I suppose the psyche of hitting frees then. So if you're, even by just saying that, right, even though you are a free taker of note and you do practice quite a lot, do things like that kind of go through your head, like?
That missing stuff, like, or missing them.
Yeah. Line is just freezing for a second.
Yeah, oh, definitely, yeah, it would. I suppose it's a three thing as a taker, like, blocking out all that, like, you know, but it can easily get into your head, like, especially miss one or two, and, you know, obviously you have the lads, you have the opposition players, you know, on talking to you the whole day, taking 3-2, like, you know, but it's all. I used to, I was young, I took these of Pat Young, and I suppose, you know, I would not laugh Pat too, and he just tell me, you know, when I was up in the pitch with him, he just tell you visualize where you are now when you're playing the match, block out everything, and just strike the ball. Like, strike it here, don't just block out the crowd, block out people talking to you, block out the noise. So that's what I try to do, but. Look, it has got better on me before, the mental side of it too. I have let it got better on me, and maybe had to switch free take or tell James to take a few there that I just, it was gone, like, you know. I suppose that was, I don't think that happened to me now though. I think that was a couple of years ago. I don't let that happen to me now, but definitely years ago, I definitely would have got psyched out things over free taking and not having maybe the ball set up, like, to take it, which I suppose as a free taker you need that. You need to have that kind of confidence and about you to go up and hit the ball over the bar regardless of the situation, like, where I just, like, I feel like I wouldn't let that affect me now, like, whereas it definitely would have a couple of years ago maybe.
Yeah. Is that come?
Go on, Joe.
Sorry, Kev. No, when you mentioned about frees, Mouse, I know you've had a lot of good ones and a lot of very important ones. I was thinking about the idea of blocking things out there. Probably one of the best days we had in Carlow supporting you was the day against Galway, and you hit the one out on the 21 to draw the match. You know, I'm just thinking of big. You've hit a lot of big frees in your day. Like, you didn't show any. You know, there was no nerves, no trepidation. It was just give me the ball and it's done. Like, you know, I think that's a great sign. In fairness to you, I think in fairness to Pat Cody, I think what I did say about Dennis Murphy, you know, was the idea, the mechanics of it. Pat looks at it, the mechanics of the. You know, the lift, the strike, everything, you know, in terms of not the overall result. And he likes Dennis's action, you know. That's Pat, that's the golfer coming out, and Pat I'd say too. But you've hit a lot of big ones. Would that have been one of your one of your hardest ones, one of your most memorable frees, like one of the most important? Like, I know you've struck a lot for the club, big ones and all, but I'm just thinking of, would that be a memorable one for you?
I sure it probably would be the most memorable one, Joe. Yeah, as I suppose it's a result and it was a performance that I suppose people will remember. Like, so because they were all around champions at the time when they came as well. Like, so it was a big crowd there and stuff.
Yeah.
That time things like I suppose. I didn't know it was last puck, like, so if I had known that, I might have drawn it, I might have hit the car flag with it.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it when he gets delighted. It was just, sure, then you just think, like, oh, thank God that went over, like, you know, just decided just a pure relief of it and stuff, so. I know, it's nerve-wracking enough, but it's something I enjoy doing, like, you know, I really relish the whole thing of it, and if I miss, I deal with it, like, I get on with it, and it is what it is. It's like you'll be the best in the world or the worst in the world. Like I have been both, and I can deal with it. Like, so it's grand. You know, I relish the whole free taking thing. I love it, stepping up and having that pressure on me to do that. Like, I'm not saying for every time I won't, but
you feel like you're going
the ball and I'll happily take the confidence to do so, like, you know.
Yeah. I think it's like the whole Ron O'Gara thing, where at the start of his career he said something along the lines of, I was hoping that I wouldn't be in a position to have to take a game-winning shot. And then coming towards the end of his career, he lived for being in the position to have to actually take a game-winning shot. So that probably comes a little bit with experience and time as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's like sometimes going to a match, like you'll be thinking, like, you know, it's such a big game here and stuff. What if it comes down to you here, the last puck of the game, to win the match, and you don't win the match and you lose the match, like, for the team, or, you know, those thoughts will go through your head sometimes, like. But as I said, as the older I'm getting now, it doesn't affect me at all that way. I wouldn't be thinking like that at all, like, you know. I said that I'd relish it now, whereas I might have took these options a few years ago, where if I had a chance to hit that free, I might have passed it on or something. You know, so everyone's different, I suppose. You know.
Yeah.
Does the confidence play in, you know, in the? Oh, sorry, Mouse, I'm getting cutting across there, lad, with the delay. No, I was just going to say there. Maybe earlier on in your career, I know you played a lot of Fitzgibbon at this stage. Did kind of playing that and seeing the standard and knowing that you were as good, if not better than that, and that was in that competition, did that give you your confidence of, like, was that a good confidence booster that you were able to, you know, I won't say bring into your game, like, but was that, did that just bring you to another level in terms of what you learned in that competition, either about yourself and preparation and players and, you know, the competition itself to Fitzgibbon? I mean, it's been a big part of your hurling career. Like, I mean, you must have took a lot out of that, did you?
Yeah, well, without doubt, it's the best hurling I've ever played. Like, and without it, like, it's after making me up completely. Like, well, I got to play with some of the unbelievable hurlers. We was great in Carrow, and, you know, we played against the best hurlers too. Like, unfortunately for us, we came up against unbelievable teams that we just couldn't get over the line in the Fitzgibbon. Unfortunately, it's something that will go with me to the grave, that I never got that medal. Unfortunately, that was my last this year. I won't get it. I can't go back and play anymore. So, but regards hurling wise, it's preparation. Like, I can't talk highly enough of it. Like, it's, you know, with the management team I got to work with, and then I'd say the players I got to play with, and then you're putting yourself against, you're playing with, and you're marking the best players in the game too. Like, so, well, like, for the first maybe 2 years, I would have struggled for the first year or two with college team. I wasn't making the team at all, or I wasn't starting with it, and that was tough enough. Like, to answer at the start, but I stuck with it then, and I played my best hurling then in maybe the last 2 or 3 years with college. You know, I made the Fitzgibbon All-Star team and stuff, and that was probably one of the highlights of my career. Getting on that team, you that was a special life for me in Crow Park that time. But as you're saying, Joe, it's without doubt the best hurling I've ever played, like standard right. And if I could play it every year until I finish, I can't. But I can't speak highly enough.
Good stuff. Well, listen, Mouse, thanks a million. You've been very good with your time. We wish you the very best luck with the Carlow Hurlers for the rest of the year, and indeed with St. Mullins when we come into the club stuff. We loved covering the club stuff last year. It was great crack, and it was very popular as well among people. I'd say, being truthful about it, the figures are probably better for the club stuff than maybe the county stuff. It just resonates more. I suppose there's more people kind of affected by it and involved maybe too, but that's what it all comes back to at the end of the day. So thanks very much for your time and the very best luck.
Thanks very much, Simon. Thanks for having me on.
Cheers. There we go. That's Mouse. And I think Stevie's still knocking around. I don't know if there's still a delay there or not. I might just actually hold off just in case there is that delay. We don't want any more technical difficulties. But Joe, very interesting chat. We're just going to
great chat.
Any last thoughts before we call it a night?
No, very little, Kev. Good win for just getting back on Marty. Just to say, I think he's a great chap. He's great. Like, it just goes to show, if you want to see, sometimes we have little doubts about ourselves as a county and maybe where we are in the overall scheme of things. And there's a lad, not only him, but some of the other lads, say Chris, and just thinking the Carlow IT lads there who stepped up with any inter-county hurler and showed that they're the equal and the better of them. So it just goes to show you that, and it's about your own standards as well, about bringing yourself on as well as, and making the best out of yourself and the best of your opportunities. And I think he's a perfect example of that. But obviously a great chap as well. You couldn't meet any better and nicer chap. No, very few, Kev. Our under 20s, and unfortunately our hurlers didn't get a result in their last group game, but our minors did. They bounced back from their first round defeat, which was brilliant. So it's good to see our minor hurlers bouncing back, and I think they're out again. They had last weekend off. I think they're out this weekend again. So they'll be hoping to get back in, and I think they will. No, very little. If anyone is not, as they have a few months spare, maybe tomorrow night as well. Our school's combined team, at the second level school's combined team, which will see the pick of our second year players across our schools, are playing Kilkenny school selection in Tinryland tomorrow evening at 6:45. If anyone is around to.
So for anyone that's not listening live, that's Tuesday.
Sorry, but geez, this is like I forgot that. It's like the Graham Norton show here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Tuesday at 6:45 in Tinryland. But no, very little else say. We've been in like a lot of positive things going on around the county. Like we said, like there's little green shoots there in the minor hurlers and footballers in the 20s and so on. So I think we just be people to be patient. The one thing I will say. And I'd like to see, and I think you remarked it, or I know Stevie did as well. We were in there today against Leitrim, and it was disappointing to see that we were probably out supported on the day by Leitrim, and they met a serious journey. And that's credit to them, obviously travelling down. But you'd love to see more people coming into the grounds and supporting the teams and the lads and their efforts, because they're putting in a massive effort, and so if you can get in to support them in any of the games, the minors, whatever age groups. All the way up, just get in and support them. I think they deserve it,
Absolutely. The last thing I'd like to say before we finish up, and I'll just go back to Marty again, is just the eye-opener for any young player who's maybe even going on to the senior club side or intermediate club side, that you're looking at arguably one of our greatest ever hurlers admitting that up to a couple of years ago had doubts. Even when he's stepping over frees and popping them over and racking up outrageous tallies, there's a chipmunk in the head saying you can't do this, the imposter syndrome, for want of a better expression, that and Daniel St. Ledger would have said to me from a football point of view on a previous podcast that he had fierce self-doubts. For a guy that outwardly looks and appears so confident, is so confident and assured in their play, I think that's a very important message to get out there to people, that if you're in that mindset, not to actually become anxious about that mindset and not to maybe overthink it, that it is actually quite normal, and to try and maybe work on channeling that accordingly, that it's a good thing. And you can focus your mind in a way that you can maximize your performance rather than letting that get in and tinker with your performance and ruin it. And the all of it is, and it comes down to it, and it happens with age, is just enjoying the goddamn game, because there is more to life. I think, Joe, to be honest, when you're that little bit younger, your week is built around football or hurling, and everything else you're trying to fill time with. But as you get that little bit older, your week is built around everything else, and football and hurling is the thing that you have a little bit of time with, and then you're not thinking about it as much. So I think that's a big.
And I think, I think things are perspective as well. Like, I mean, we mentioned there in the program there tonight, like, about, sadly, the names of the chaps who passed away, that there's trophies. We forgot to mention, like, the Only Shaden tournament as well. Is, Carlowtown and Burn Rangers play at that game, and that. So they're unfortunately named after after men who have passed away too soon, and that maybe we do. You need to enjoy and live in the moment, and enjoy your game when you're there and you're getting it, and to put things in perspective. You know what I mean? To put life in perspective and your sport in perspective, and live accordingly, as I say.
Absolutely. Just a couple of things before we finish up. So you can, of course, follow us. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. We can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the Left Wing Back. If you want to email us about something, leftwingbackpodcast@gmail.com. We'd like to thank our sponsors of the Hurling Show, Sports Equipment Ireland. Again, any sort of equipment you want there, supplier of all team training equipment, cones, poles, bibs, balls, speed equipment, and more. Sports Equipment.ie, the website, Sports Equipment Ireland, the company. Thanks for coming on board and sponsoring the Hurling Show. Just from our point of view as well, the Buy Me Coffee link is there. Joe loves his lattes. He loves his lattes. I like my cappuccinos. Stevie would like internet. But if you are looking to support the pod and you do like what we do, it's not compulsory. It's like a tip jar in there for price of coffee. You can support the pod. And thanks to everyone who have done it so far. That's where we leave it. Joe Nolan, thanks a million for your time.
Pleasure as ever. Yep, no matter, man.
Stevie Bamrick, appreciate your time as well. I know he's there backstage somewhere. Mouse Cabinet, thanks a million. And obviously earlier on the football show, we were talking to Mark Bean, and indeed to Danny McMahon as well. So that's where we leave it. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll chat to you all again very, very soon.